The world won't understand you. Hey, but it's okay. Said the world won't understand you, 'cause I made you in my own way. Said the world won't understand you.
Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to episode 30 of In a Good Way podcast. I'm gonna do this one by myself as well. This one, I'm gonna talk about losing a loved one. Obviously, it's not something that's easy to talk about, but I was hiking up this mountain today and it came to me, so I'm gonna make it, right? I feel like I'm supposed to make this video, maybe because it's the holidays and all that. I think when you lose a loved one, especially, it's like everything starts like, you start making a note of that. It's like the first birthday you're not going to spend with them, the first, Christmas, the first New Year. So everything like jumps out at you, right? Oh, this is the first, all that, right? So, and even that, right? When we see a loved one going in front of our eyes, whether they're sick or from old age, it's, especially if you've never really cared about the spiritual stuff, it's like they're there 1 second and then they're gone. And I've noticed that sometimes that's an awakening point for people, right? Because they need to understand like what happened, like you were just there, and their brain kind of goes into, almost like whether it's a huge awakening or a small awakening, but it's like something happens to where you're searching, right? It's like your higher self is trying to connect with your 3D self. And since you can't make sense out of it, you're relying on your higher self, right? Like it goes into that. It's like driving a car and it's regular. I used to have a car that had the overdrive thing, right? Like not anymore, but the old, like now it's automatic, right? But the old car, I remember I had to put it into overdrive. If I was going like up a hill or something, I had to put it into overdrive. Or when I hit a certain speed, right? I had to put it into overdrive. So that's how it is. Like our bodies, our 3D bodies are trying, like they can't process it. So it has to finally rely on the higher self, and then the higher self connects. And, for the most part, that's one of the first questions I ask. I always ask somebody when they lose a loved one, like, did they visit you in a dream yet? And they'll be like, oh yeah. But, they always, I guess, it's almost to me like a brain where they've been brainwashed by modern times to be like, oh yeah, because I must have been thinking about them a lot, and so they came into my dream. But that's them actually coming to you, right? Because as you know, this is our vehicle, right? This is the body we're using while we're here, and then our spirit body is our real body. So you're connecting with them in that astral plane, the spirit world, however you want to call it, and they came to visit you, right? To say their goodbye. That's why that's always the first question I ask people. I'm like, did they come say goodbye? And those that know, then know, like, that's beautiful, right? That they'll come to say goodbye. Like some of my friends that have like a little more connected, like, they've had an experience like me, before my brother's passing, I dreamed of it like 9 months before it happened. I just didn't know yet what they were showing me until after it all like made sense, right? Like it was a premonition or whatever, in a sense of certain things that happened. So they gave me that heads up. It still hit me just as hard as anybody, like, like they really, since it was tragic, I guess, because for those that have been following me know, like, it was he took his life, and so it was like, like dropping a ton of bricks on you, right? And, I've had like my friend too that I interviewed, like, she lost her sister and brother the same way too. It was a sudden loss, and she was shown beforehand too, in a way. I forgot if hers was a little more like bluntly, like they showed her exactly kind of the ways they were going. But like with mine, it was kind of cryptic, right? But I got it. Like me, I remember, like I had woke up with all my whole face covered in tears and all like that distorted crying face, like, oh, like, and I was like, what the hell? And the pain I felt was like, I thought there was some huge catastrophe that like half the world had died or something. But the pain I felt was like what I felt when my brother passed, right? It was like, that was the same pain. So it would equate for me like half the world just poof vanishing. Like that was the pain I felt, right? When he passed. So it all made sense after. I was like, wow, this is it. And then things that happened in that vision, like then they started happening like in real life. So then I got it. But you know, it was like you know, instantly, right? Like he started coming to me. Even times that I was gonna make some rash decisions, he came to like, nah, like he wasn't happy about that stuff, right? So he became like a kind of like a guardian angel type thing, like when, you know, after, right? But there was a, you know, I guess I want to talk about that, right? Like I was blessed with the day that he passed. Like I was on my first date with like, this like psychic girl that I knew was psychic, but you know, she stayed with me and you know, it was like, damn, like I could laugh about it now, but I was like, holy crap, like what a first date, right? Like for her, right? I know and that's the thing is like people think like when you have gifts, it's not like you just see everything all the time. Like I said, even for me, it was kind of cryptic because it's like they show you what they want to show you sometimes, right? Think about it like God, right? Like people, like God will show you what he wants to show you in the same, right? It's like almost like it's permission granted. Like who grants permission to people, right? Like it's almost like, you know, well, I don't want to get into that. That's probably for another episode, right? But it's like that, right? So they show you what they're allowed to show you kind of stuff. And so this girl, like, because she was supposed to actually drive all the way to my house, but what happened was she was like kind of confused, I think, because I think she felt something she just didn't know, and so I had to drive out to meet her. And because we were at that place, she took me like when I got the call, she took me to him. And so she was able to tell me like stuff he was saying, right? And then it matched. Like a week later, I called a psychic friend of mine and verbatim, basically, everything this girl told me, she was telling me the same thing. So I was able to confirm, like, and then, you know, my other friend, then after that, like she guided me. There were things in the house that he told me something, like a very specific thing, the things it said on it, everything, like it was crazy, right? Like, you know, finding those items and different stuff like that, right? So I was able to experience that whole situation of that they're still here, right? And so I guess that's kind of, if I'm just giving a message, it's that, right? Like when you lose a loved one, they're there, right? You could still talk to them. They're just energy. And so that's why they'll come to you in the dream, because unless you're really tapped in, you're not going to, like, you know, you won't be able to hear their voice. You won't be able to see them. It's more like, so that's how they can communicate to you. So if you ever wonder, well, why don't they just appear in person? To some people they do, right? But to others, it's like, or they'll appear like as you're waking up and you'll see someone right there, or you'll feel someone sitting on your bed or that kind of stuff. Because when you're in between both worlds, like from the dream state to the awake state, your brain isn't as shut off, right? You're not as in your 3D self, or you're not using the logic so much, right? That's the best time they could talk to you, right? Because you're not so stubborn. They're like, no, this is it. Like you already molded yourself into this. This 3D life is what is. And so that's when they'll communicate to you, right? Through the dreams. But, you know, for me, I was shown that it's how it was, right? Because I couldn't come to terms with the fact that they didn't let me help him, right? That if he was going through something, that they didn't let me help him. So that was my beef, right? Like, why didn't you let me help him? And I'm sure like there's different people that go through that, like a father or mother losing their kid to cancer and wondering why. Like, why would God do that? Why would anybody do that? Why would you allow that? Or you know, getting hit by a car and you know, someone passing away, and you're asking why. You know, I really don't know why, right? But I could tell you my experience. Like I know right after he passed, like all these people were messaging me like on Facebook, like his friends, right, from the military. he had so many friends, and especially like at his funeral, right? They came from all over. So I was blessed to see that he lived a good life in that way, right? Like he lived a complete life. He had friends, all different cultures, ethnicities. From across the country, they came to see him, at his funeral. And so that was good to know that so many people held him in such high regard, right? And so to me, it was like within like a month after, it was like someone, like I was on Facebook because people were messaging his friends. Like, I guess they found me probably because whatever, like, I guess I had my brother on Facebook. So I guess they were messaging like, hey, I just heard about what happened or stuff like that. And so, or they didn't have all the details. They were asking me like what happened or whatever. So anyways, after that, like what happened was someone jumped out at me, right? I had a friend, but it was like, I had posted about it. So I thought like, and that's probably just me in my head, right? Like I thought people had seen, and I get it. Sometimes you don't see stuff, but I was like, well, this, like, someone jumped out at me, and it was like something spiritual told me to message this person, right? And I was like, I ain't gonna message them. Like, they never told me my condolences, nothing, sorry for your loss. So I was like, I'm not gonna message this person. It was a good friend, but I was just like, did they really not see like nothing? Like I'm not gonna message them. And so they were like, oh, if you don't message them, you're gonna regret it, right? And so I messaged them. I was like, hey, and then they were like, oh, I guess they were going through something, and it was probably similar to like what my brother was going through. And so I went over there with them, right? I prayed for them, everything, and all that stuff. And so after, like, they were like, oh, I think like God or an angel sent you here, right? And I was like, yeah, like, because obviously, right, something told me, right? So whether it was God, an angel, whoever told me to reach out to them, and I listened. So when I went over there, I was like, I'm gonna drive to you, right? And I went. And this is not even a month right after like my brother passed, I think. And so when they told me that, even though I was glad I could help somebody, I remember looking up, like, and I was just like, oh, hell no. Like, you let me help somebody else, but you didn't let me help my own brother. That means you were able to do that. Like, you were able to allow me. Like, if you told me, if you made it bluntly clear for me to help somebody else, but you didn't make it bluntly clear for me to help on my own family, then that's unforgivable, right? So after that, my whole brain went into something really, I guess, dark, right? I was just like upset, like with the spirit world, I guess God, if you want to say it, everything, right? Like, I was like, I can't believe it, right? I like I thought I've been like, I'm not no angel, right? Like in that sense, but I've tried to listen as much as I could, right? With what I could. You know what? If anything, I think in my life I've gone through the whole imposter syndrome, right? I came from a different upbringing, so you think like, oh, God can't use me, right? And that's why I think things from the Bible jump out at you, like the story of Moses or this or that, or people, King David did a whole lot of things wrong, but God still, like I think in the story how they say like God loved David, like King David and this and that. So, those kind of things, like they help you realize like, wow, I guess God will use who he wants to use, right? So that, right? Like I've tried to be obedient with stuff like that seems like the kind of stuff that people will be like, this is nuts. Like, like that, like if like that, reaching out to somebody, like you hear it, they just told you that, and then it ends up being correct, right? Like they tell me to reach out to someone, this person was in a dark place. I go pray with them, and then boom, you know what I mean? Like they say, like they know, like, God or an angel sent you. And then the fact that they didn't let me help my own brother, which meant like the world to me, I couldn't deal with that, right? So they had to show me. So, then an angel came to me where my brother was, this and that. And they had to show me that it was gonna happen like this, like no matter what. So that's the thing I'm trying to get at, like that somehow, some way, this is how it was written. And I feel like it'll all be revealed at the end. I think it did. It's all part of, like, you know, if you talk to people, like there's people, like, I know there's this near death experience channel, and they talk about like contracts and everything. Like, I know the guy whose channel that is, and I can't remember his name or nothing, but I believe he lost his daughter, and he talks about like how he had to find out, like, it's like she had her own contract, and like when you lose a loved one, it's like you want to say, why did this happen to me? Why did this happen to me? But it's like they had their contract, you have your contract, and even though you're here together, all this stuff is like you're on your journey, they're on their journey. And so they showed me all that, right? Like, I got to experience that. Like, you hear all these near-death experience people that die and come back, and then how they're shown all this stuff. So I got to see that without, I guess, experiencing like the near-death, right? Like, because, you know, I'm already like tapped in, right? Obviously, you've been following this channel. So they took me to where he was, and then they showed me all these things that, like I said, it comes back tangible, right? Like, they showed me like, oh, look at this, look at that. And they showed me these things that somehow it was written like that. So I don't know if that helps comfort somebody. And it's hard to grasp that concept, right? To say like, why are we here? Like, I'm not afraid to like, obviously nobody wants to like feel pain when they die and this and that, but like, I'm not really afraid to go. You know, I never thought I would want to come back, but I even feel like I might come back. You know what I mean? Maybe like if I go, you know, but I've made it. It's almost like, you know, like I remember when my dog passed away that I had like for 12 years. Like, I think the year after my brother passed too, right? And I think anything I didn't let out with my brother, like I let out when my dog passed. Like, I don't know, maybe because it was too soon and everything just came out, right? But you know, I remember like you know, just the most poetic way. Like, my dog passed, like looking at the sun towards the sunset and everything, and it was just you know, it was crazy, right? But he was gonna pass actually a month before that, and I went and I cried and I prayed with him. I said, okay, you gotta go. And I went inside, like, I guess to eat something real quick, because it was already like noontime, and I didn't eat nothing because I was with my dog the whole time. And when I came back, he was walking around. I was like, what? Like, and I think he just gave me that extra month because he saw like I was, I guess, hurting and you know, crying tears on him. And he was just like, I'm gonna stick around one more month. And he was good. And then like he left in the middle of the night when I couldn't revive him. You know what I mean? So it was funny that he did that, but it was very poetic, like, you know, staring like in the direction of the sunset, right? I don't know why I brought that up, but why did I bring that up? I have no clue. Just oh yeah, that was the point. Is like how he made his little area to go, right? Like, I think mentally I already made my little, you know, I feel like I have done, you know, stuff that I've already left behind, like what you would call a legacy, right? Like as far as certain things, right? You know, I never thought it mattered like that. But, you know, I went back and I realized like all these songs I recorded, and there's nothing I could say in these videos that I haven't already said in a song. I just didn't. It's like even when I talk in these, when I'm doing these songs, like sometimes I even like I'm listening to myself, and I even talk smarter than like when I talk regular, right? Like this colloquial chat, right? In the songs, it's like I use words that I don't even use like on an everyday basis, right? So it's interesting who this, like, these teachings that I give through these songs are like, to me, are priceless, right? Like, they don't even it's good, this knowledge, right, to give through these podcasts and everything, but I think I've already done what I needed to do, even with the songs, you know. You know, even ones that people might consider negative nowadays, you know, to me, they're just time capsules, right? They just show me like a whole story, right? Like I've said before, like certain songs I've done will probably get me, if I was like, you know, huge and famous, it would have got me canceled in today's society. But to me, they're time capsules, and I've learned from them, right? Like I wouldn't like today. I could never write those songs, but in a way, I am glad I did because it reminded me of the evolution, right? And that's the humanity, right? We go through this evolution, and eventually we end up in the spirit world, right? We end up going. So death is nothing to be afraid of. Obviously, it hurts. Someone has to go first, and that's the thing is that I know, of course, my brother had to go first, right? That was part of the whole thing, right? Like he had to go first. Someone always has to go first, right? And that was him, right? He's always was a leader in that sense, and he always, you know, he was the oldest, right? So he had to go, and whatever part of this contract thing it was, but they'll always give you signs. I guess that's, oh, now I remember why I even thought to make this video to begin with. So when I was walking up the mountain, there was an Oriole, and so after he passed, I started seeing Orioles, right? And right away I knew, like, you know, I was sitting in the backyard, this Oriole came, and it was right there. I was like, what the hell? I never seen an Oriole, or if I had never noticed it till after. And when he was little, like in elementary, he was in the Orioles, right? For the baseball team. And he had like the same colors like the bird, right? Like, so instantly, like it got me. I was like, oh wow, like he came to visit. And there's all these spiritual meanings about the Oriole too. So it changed my mood, right? It was like, it got me out of like feeling sad, right? Because he came. So there was so many signs. And even after he passed, like the acting, I don't even want to do acting no more. And the first thing there was this movie, I think it was called Jack and Jill with Adam Sandler. And you know, I had got free tickets like to the screening right before it comes out. So we probably saw it like, I don't know, maybe a year before it even came out in the movies or whatever it came out in. And I had like, I don't know how many tickets, and I took him and I think, I don't know, my niece or some, I forgot how many of us went, but we went to go see it. And there was this funny part with Al Pacino, right? Like everyone, like, or you know, at least like my brother loved Al Pacino. I loved him from the movies like Scarface, The Godfather, all that stuff. And so there was like, he's singing this Dunkin' Donuts commercial. He's like, something my Dunkachino or something. So he would always sing that. Oh, and then it's funny, when I flew to Virginia to see him, the first place he took me was to Dunkin' Donuts to show me that they really sold those Dunkachinos. He's like, oh, look, it's real, like the Dunkachino, right? And so after he passed, the first commercial I got on that I worked, back to the acting thing, was like a Dunkin' Donuts commercial. So I was like, wow, out of all things, like, because I didn't even want to do it, right? And then they messaged me, I guess, you know, for the goatee. They were like, oh, we need someone with a goatee, because it was like some funny song thing. And I was looking for it. I couldn't find it anymore because it was during this season, like a summer. I think it was in 2019 that summer, and it was for some funny Dunkin' Donuts commercial, right? That they had like on Facebook and YouTube and all that. So it was funny. And that's how I knew like that was all him, right? Like he got me. And then the next commercial too, it was like some baseball, I don't know, San Diego or something. And it was like, you know, it reminded me, because when I was in the Marines in boot camp, they took us there. They took us to go watch a baseball game there. And that's that stadium, right? That's where I went. That's where the commercial we went. It was at that stadium, right? So I was like, oh wow. So everything, all these commercials were related to him that I was working on, or just things, every acting thing. Because I didn't want to do it no more. I was like I didn't want to do that acting stuff no more. I didn't care about it. You know, all that stuff, right? I was like, I don't want to do this crap. But everything I was getting was related to him, right? So I felt like he was kind of easing me back into getting in the flow of things, you know? So yeah, those are the kind of, like, you'll get signs all over. It's up to you if you want to listen or not. It's up to you if you want to acknowledge that they're communicating with you. Like I said, if you're more of a logical thinker and you don't allow yourself, you're gonna miss the magic, right? You're gonna miss the fact that the beauty that they're still rooting for you while you're here, even when it's like a tragic boom, like yeah, they want you to finish what you gotta finish while you're here, right? Like they're gone already, but they're not, right? Like it's just energy. They're still here, and they'll help you if you need the help, right? Even as I'm saying this, I could feel like some kind of presence here, right? Like I feel that. You know what I mean? So I don't know who's with me. You know what's funny? Even today in the mountains, there's these women's voices. I've 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 heard it on 2 different videos that I made. I said, and I didn't even realize it. Once when I was at a cemetery, I'm like, oh, I just heard some ladies' voices. And then months later, I think I was in, or a year later, I was in the mountains and I was like, I just heard these ladies' voices, but you could see for like a mile down the mountain and you can't even see no ladies, nothing. I was like, what the hell? Like, I know I heard these ladies. And today I heard them again in the mountains. I was like, I was like, oh, some ladies are, I don't know why. It was like, oh yeah, because I was in my own, I didn't want to be around people. So I heard someone coming and then I just went. But then after I looked, I was like, wait, there's no one here. Like I heard the ladies, but they're not here. So it was interesting, right? I don't know who they are, they're relatives or what, but they're there, these ladies, right? So I would like to figure out who they are. I don't know who they are though. But anyways, I think that's it. I just wanted you guys to know that there's so much, like don't miss the magic. Don't get caught up in your head. Like, they're communicating with you. They want you to be happy. I know it's hard, but they want you to complete what you're here for, right? Like, that's the thing, is you're gonna meet up back with them. You're gonna meet back with them, right? It's hard sometimes. Like, I never thought I was gonna stop. Like, that's why I think I have these things, right? Like, I got these marks now. I think from all the damn tears I shed, right? Like, constantly rubbing my face and rubbing my face and rubbing my face. And I got these marks right here. I think it was from all the damn tears, right? So, but it's fine. Like, it doesn't, like, it is what it is. The reminders, right? Like, some people tattoo the teardrops, and I guess I got like these things now, so it's all good. So yeah, but you got to finish while you're here. And eventually it goes away, obviously, like the grieving to that point, and sometimes of course it'll hit you out of nowhere, but damn, I don't even know. I'm gonna leave this video. I'm just like, now, I had it structured, but obviously with these kind of things it's not as structured. But yeah, I'll just leave it at that, right? Like, if you're here, you still got something to do. Don't, like, like, they don't want you to go yet, you know what I'm saying? Like, they want you to finish while you're here. You obviously have a reason to still be here, and you'll be with them soon enough. So, it's like that, like, boom. Like, sometimes I'm amazed that, like, everything, it just seemed like yesterday, right? Like, everything just, like, boom. Like, time really is a non-existent, because once it passes, we just keep it alive because the memory. But if you choose to not remember it, then it's gone, right? That's why I love songs, because I can go back to that place when I'm listening to maybe a song I wrote. But other than that, like, I forget about it. Like, I don't even, like, I was listening to songs that I didn't even remember I had even wrote. Like, it's amazing. But when I listen to them, I'm like, oh, damn. Or sometimes I don't even remember, like, what mood. I just know it existed, that I was in that mood because I wrote that song. So I don't even know what the hell was going on sometimes, and sometimes I do, right? I'm like, damn, like, and something either set me off or something made me emotional or something is that I'm writing these songs, right? So it's a beautiful thing to be able to remember. But if we don't remember, then it's gone, right? That's why it's beautiful to remember a loved one, right? And you could go to a cemetery for your own, like, something that helps you connect. But to me, it was like, at first I knew, because since he was visiting me so much, I was going more for like family, but I knew he wasn't even there, right? In this cemetery plot, right? Like, because I was connected with him, like, he was coming so much to me in these visions, you know, and like I said, some angels took me to like where he was at, or an angel, like there was this specific angel that was showing me stuff. And so, yeah, that's it. I'll just leave it at that, right? Like, but you know, I guess my whole point is I don't want people to be all sad and stuff, because obviously you're gonna grieve as long as you need to grieve. Like, you know, like there's really no time limit to it, because when your emotions come out, they come out, right? For me, it took me about 3 years of really just like having the very unpredictable like breakdowns, I guess, and then it just like, it's weird, you know? Then it's just gone, like not in a way that you don't care, but it's just the pain kind of subsides, right? And obviously some people will last longer and stuff like that, right? So, but they're rooting for you, so don't give up while you're still here. Do what you need to do. You'll be with them soon enough. They love you, right? I think one thing is, you know, I think a lot of like people that leave suddenly, of course, they would love to apologize if they cause you pain. Like obviously once they go, they don't feel the pain, but they can see that you're in pain and they understand it. You know what I mean? They know what it is. So I'll just leave it at that. I hope you guys are well. And you know, yeah, if you lost a loved one, obviously I feel for you, because you know, I know what that is. Even like the tragic losses, right? And so yeah, I wish you all the peace and comfort, right? But know that, you know, you'll be with them soon enough, and that's what it is. All right, peace.
From this life we all go with the fast or slow. If nobody knows, but you know we going old. So put down that shovel before your skin turns cold. Cause the reaper man is coming and there ain't no need to hold. From this life we all go with the fast or slow. If nobody knows, but you know we going old. So put down that shovel before your skin turns cold. Cause the reaper man is coming and there ain't no need to hold on.
Hey, what's up, Omar? You said to wake you up.